Failure is something we all encounter, yet it remains one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. It sneaks in when we least expect it. An exam not passed, a job opportunity missed, a relationship that didn't last, a business that didn't take off. The emotional weight is often heavier than the situation itself. It chips away at confidence, whispers doubts, and convinces many to give up long before their true potential is ever revealed. But what if failure isn't the monster we've been taught to fear? What if it's the very thing that helps us grow into the person we were meant to become? In a world obsessed with winning, failure is often buried or denied. We scroll past struggles and only see the highlight reels of other people's lives. We rarely hear about the nights they cried, the moments they almost quit, or the 1,000 attempts that didn't work. Instead, success is presented as flawless and instant. This illusion conditions us to think that one wrong turn means we're no longer worthy, no longer capable, and no longer relevant. But here's the truth. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has failed repeatedly. The difference lies not in whether they failed, but in how they responded. Some people break under the weight of failure. Others bend, adapt, and come back stronger. It's never the failure that defines the future. It's the choice made after it. If you've ever felt defeated, stuck, or ashamed because something didn't go your way, you're not alone. And you're not done. This message is for those who are ready to stop fearing failure and start using it. Because the setback you're facing might not be a dead end. It could be the doorway to your greatest breakthrough. And failure is a deeply personal experience. It doesn't just touch what we do, it tests who we are. We all face it, and yet few know how to truly handle it. For many, failure feels like the ultimate rejection, a loud declaration that we're not good enough, smart enough, or strong enough. But that feeling, while powerful, isn't the full story. In fact, it often hides the deeper truth. Failure is not the end. It's a part of the journey, a necessary process that reveals more about our character, our strength, and our purpose than success ever could. From childhood, we're conditioned to believe that failure is something to be ashamed of. Whether it was getting a poor grade, missing a goal in sports, or disappointing someone we care about, we learned early on that mistakes come with consequences, embarrassment, punishment, or the sting of letting someone down. That message stays with us. It grows louder in adulthood, where the stakes feel even higher. A failed business might mean financial hardship. A failed relationship might mean heartbreak. A failed dream might mean years of effort seemingly wasted. And yet, if we look closer, failure is not nearly as final as it feels. The true danger isn't in the failure itself, it's in how we interpret it. Do we view it as a reflection of our identity, or as a signal that we're learning, evolving, and on the edge of something greater? The moment we begin to shift our mindset around failure, we unlock the power it holds. Failure begins to shape us, not break us. It becomes a tool, not a trap. Many of the world's most successful people have experienced failure on a grand scale, but the ability to get back up, reflect, and adapt is what moved them forward. They didn't run from it, they leaned into it. And that's where transformation happens. When we begin to see failure as a guide instead of an enemy, we stop fearing it and start growing through it. Everyone encounters failure. The difference lies in what we do next. We can allow it to define us, or we can allow it to refine us. The choice is ours, and that choice determines the direction of our lives. Failure is not something to hide from, it's something to learn from. And when we do, we become stronger, wiser, and more equipped for the road ahead. The greatest challenge with failure isn't the event itself, it's how we respond to it. Failure has a way of reaching deep into our identity and whispering lies that we begin to believe. One mistake, one wrong decision, one moment of weakness, and suddenly we start seeing ourselves through the lens of defeat. It doesn't take long before a failed attempt becomes a personal label. We don't just say, I failed. We start saying, I am a failure. That internal shift is what causes the most damage. Not the situation, but the meaning we attach to it. This mindset is reinforced by the world around us. Society celebrates success, not struggle. We're constantly shown perfect outcomes, polished results, and highlight reels that make failure seem abnormal. When others are progressing while we're stumbling, the gap feels enormous. We start questioning our worth, our abilities, and our future. We become afraid to try again. The fear of failing a second time, or worse, being seen failing, keeps many people from ever stepping forward again. One of the biggest problems is the pressure to appear successful at all times. There's little room for honesty, vulnerability, or process. As a result, people hide their failures. They pretend to have it all together while quietly battling self-doubt, regret, and confusion. This isolation compounds the problem, making failure feel heavier than it is. Without a healthy space to process and learn from failure, we begin to shrink. We take fewer risks. We lower our expectations. We settle, not because we lack talent, but because we lack courage after being wounded by disappointment. This is where the cycle begins. Failure leads to fear, which leads to inaction, which guarantees stagnation. Over time, dreams fade. Potential sits untapped. The problem isn't that we failed, it's that we stop moving because of it. And when movement stops, growth stops. Everyone experiences failure, but not everyone knows how to face it, learn from it, and keep going. That's the real challenge. It's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about building the resilience and wisdom to rise after them. The inability to process failure in a healthy, empowering way has left too many people stuck in the shadows of their past. The challenge isn't the fall, it's the fear of getting back up. But until we learn how to face failure with the right perspective, we remain trapped by it. Learning how to handle failure starts with changing the way we see it. Failure is often seen as the opposite of success, but in reality, it is a crucial part of the success journey. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has experienced setbacks along the way. What separates those who grow from failure from those who are defeated by it is perspective. When we shift our mindset to view failure not as the end, but as a step forward, we begin to uncover its hidden value. The first step in developing a healthy relationship with failure is recognizing that it is feedback, not finality. Failure provides insight into what didn't work and offers an opportunity to adjust, refine, and improve. It reveals blind spots, tests our commitment, and forces us to ask better questions. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? We can ask, what can I learn from this? That small change in thinking opens the door to growth and transformation. Another key aspect of handling failure is emotional resilience. Failure can trigger shame, embarrassment, and self-doubt, but these feelings don't have to control the narrative. Emotional resilience is the ability to sit with discomfort, process what went wrong, and still choose to move forward. It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about deciding that this one moment does not define your entire journey. Building resilience comes through reflection, support, and repetition. The more we face failure and choose to grow, the stronger we become. Support systems also play a powerful role. Having people around you who encourage growth rather than perfection makes all the difference. Whether it's friends, mentors, or a community, being able to talk through setbacks helps break the isolation that failure often brings. It reminds us we are not alone and that others have walked similar paths. Finally, reconnecting with your purpose or goal can reignite the motivation to continue. Failure often clouds our vision, making us forget why we started in the first place. Taking time to remember your deeper why can be the fuel needed to rise again. When the purpose is strong, the pain of failure becomes bearable, even useful. Failure is not meant to break us, but to build us. It's a tool, not a tragedy. And when we approach it with clarity, courage, and intention, it becomes one of life's greatest teachers. There comes a moment in every journey where failure feels final. The dream you once held close seems out of reach. The energy you poured into your goal feels wasted, and hope starts to fade. This is the breaking point, the place where many give up, convinced that the pain of disappointment outweighs the possibility of redemption. It's not the fall that hurts the most, but the silence that follows. The silence where doubt grows, where fear echoes, and where you begin to question everything. Your decisions, your purpose, your worth. In that stillness, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads backward towards safety, comfort, and retreat. The other leads forward into uncertainty, into effort without guarantee, and into the risk of failing again. This is the key moment, the decision point. Do you let failure define you, or do you? Choosing to move forward isn't easy. There's no applause, no instant results. It's often a quiet decision made in the privacy of your thoughts. It's the choice to try one more time, to stand up despite the bruise, to believe there's more ahead even when you don't feel it. This decision doesn't come from pride, it comes from conviction, a deep, unshakable belief that failure is not your final destination. This moment is where character is formed. It's where you become stronger, not because things got easier, but because you refused to quit. You may still feel the sting of your previous fall, but now you're standing taller, not because you avoided failure, but because you faced it and chosen to rise. Something changes in you the moment you push forward after a failure. The fear loses its grip, the shame begins to fade, and in its place, a quiet strength begins to grow. A strength forged not by success, but by survival and determination. This is your turning point. Not the end of the story, but the beginning of a new chapter, written by someone who chose courage over comfort and resilience over retreat. And that choice changes everything. Failure is not the enemy we often believe it to be. It is uncomfortable, yes, and sometimes painful, but it is also one of life's greatest teachers. The way we respond to it shapes not only our outcomes, but our identity. When we understand that failure is a natural and necessary part of growth, we free ourselves from the fear that holds so many people back. It becomes a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. We've all faced moments when things didn't go as planned, when effort didn't meet expectation, and the result was disappointing. In those moments, it's tempting to quit, to walk away, or to lower our ambitions just to avoid future pain. But those are the very moments that test our resilience, our mindset, and our vision for the future. It is easy to keep moving when everything is working in your favor. It's when you're met with opposition, setbacks, and frustration that your real strength begins to emerge. By learning to view failure as feedback, we begin to take control of our growth. We can evaluate what went wrong without shaming ourselves, and we can course correct with clarity and intention. This shift in thinking empowers us to keep going, knowing that mistakes are part of the process, not proof that we're unqualified. Failure also gives us perspective. It shows us what truly matters, what we are willing to fight for, and where our deepest values lie. It sharpens our focus and deepens our resolve. And perhaps most importantly, it builds the kind of character that success alone never could. Success may reveal our strengths, but failure reveals our depth. You are not defined by your worst moment. You are defined by what you choose to do after it. Whether you're facing a recent setback or carrying the weight of past disappointments, remember that every failure holds a lesson. And with the right perspective, that lesson becomes a catalyst for growth. So let failure do what it was meant to do, not stop you, but shape you. Let it refine your purpose, strengthen your heart, and deepen your wisdom. Because the journey is never about avoiding failure. It's about learning how to rise every time you fall. And the ability to rise again is where true success begins. Now is the time to redefine your relationship with failure. Don't wait for the perfect moment to begin healing, learning, or trying again. That moment is now. If you've been holding back because of a past mistake, a failed plan, or a painful setback, give yourself permission to let go of the shame and begin again with fresh perspective. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply in the process of becoming stronger and wiser. Start by identifying one failure that still lingers in your mind. Write it down. Then list what it taught you. Look for the lesson, the hidden value, the part of you that grew because of that experience. This small exercise will shift your thinking from regret to reflection and from fear to fuel. Don't just carry the weight, extract the wisdom. Next, challenge yourself to revisit something you gave up on. Maybe it's a goal, a dream, or a conversation you avoided. Approach it not as the same person who once fell, but as someone who has learned and grown. Take small steps. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Even a single step forward is a sign that failure no longer has control over you. Speak to someone you trust. Share what you've learned from your journey. You'd be surprised how your story could help someone else rise from their own fall. We often think we need to succeed before we speak, but your honest reflection can be just as powerful, if not more. Finally, make a decision today. Failure will not silence you, sideline you, or shrink you. It will grow you. Commit to being a student of every experience, good or bad. And as you keep moving forward, you'll notice that the fear of failure begins to lose its power. You've fallen before, but look, you're still here. That's proof that you can rise again.